pretty it's green. Trying to go-go dance. This is how they do it. That is exhausting, I'm telling you. These are all by Everett Almond. Oh, I don't care if people are nice to me. Holy crap. Here's for all you guitar lovers. Rock it out with me. And no, I do not do drugs. I've never stuck anything in my arm. Oh, this is Taking in the Changes by Everett Almond, and that's what I'm doing. Trying to stay happy, knowing my sister passed 5 days ago now. Thanks, Philly D. Thank you. Will you guys sub up to me? My goal is 5,000. Help me get there, please. Oh. People were saying in yesterday's chat, thank you, Super Kendall. Thank you. Well, she's not suffering anymore, and she really was. So I just gotta be happy for my life and okay. I'm still grieving, but I almost try to purposely, I try to be more playful, out there a little more. My mom died 11 months ago, February 10. It's going to be a sad, sad day for me. And I didn't get to say goodbye to either of them. Maybe I should have flown to Iowa even though she wasn't ready for me, even instead of going to Virginia. She had company. Maybe I should have just shown up at her door. We thought we had more time. So I didn't choose Jimmy over my mom. No way in hell would I choose a man. She had company though. summer. Yeah. Feels good to be able to say it. BHB, Sierra, and me. I just want to see PJ knocked off her high horse a little bit. There you go. Reality is hitting the fan. Our troops that have been snubbed by many are out. Oh my God, thank you, Jason. Oh my God, it's the biggest one I've ever gotten. Thank you. Wow, Jason, thank you. Oh, Lord. Okay, let's stop that. Stop. Okay. So, what I want to say about Jimmy right here, not that he'll ever hear this or anything, but I do still care about him. I want him to be okay. I want him to be happy if it's with her. There's a reason he hasn't put a real ring on it for 3 years. If I was dying to get married to a man for clout or money or whatever it is that she thinks she loves him for, seriously, because she talks bad about him all the time on her programs, and she does. And you guys all know it, okay? When she does, people just put, oh, we know who wears the pants in the house and all this kind of stuff, okay? I wouldn't stay with a man that didn't want to marry me if that's what I wanted. Okay? I've been married twice to the same man and it didn't work. Shaylin's father and I never got married. Thank God. Because he went to Colorado when she was 5, left both of us, and that didn't work out, and got that girl impregnated with 2 girls, and then went over to another girl, woman in a different part of Colorado. But anyway, he's now in this town and has been for 9 years, and my daughter's seen him twice. That's all she wants to see him. Not this past summer, but the summer before. They tried to do the e-biking and everything, and he's not patient enough for her. And because of all his grand mal seizures and everything, and he doesn't even know I have a channel, so he's not going to see this. He has issues, bipolar and other things. So I wish him the best too, but he's been with the same gal now for years, and she can't have children. Yeah. So, locked and loaded. Is he? Fuck yeah. He's that good. This is why Sierra doesn't stop. Sierra doesn't stop talking about his you-know-what, because he does. He knows what to do with it. And he is very endowed. Maybe this will make him happy. Maybe it'll piss him off. But, yep. Hi, still here. Thank you. And thank you for your super chat. I watched back my live last night. I didn't see it. I just saw Diamond Cutter and then Luna's. So thank you so much. That's so sweet. It's amazing. Yeah. But you know what? He used to be in a band. He was a lead singer. and he probably got, I'm just gonna say it right here, probably a lot of pussy all the time. And his so-called girlfriend now is sort of prudish and the complete opposite of him. I mean, listen to the way he talks on his lives. He used to say, don't try to find me or something on Pornhub. Okay, that should tell you something. Like she always says on her lives, there's some truth in the lies. Okay? Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this. I flew in on, I left Thursday on my flights. I got there at 8 in the morning at the airport, and I wasn't there by myself. I'm just going to say that. And then I stayed, and she goes on how it was her birthday and he was with me. Not every damn second. And she's at work Friday, okay? So I had my chance to do more than walk with him on the beach. And then he wanted, apparently, to see me that next night because he contacted me, and the way he was able to leave Saturday night when she and her daughter were over there, I was told he ignored her. He completely wouldn't talk to her, you guys. He wouldn't. And she got fed up and left with her daughter. Now, guess where he went? Okay? It had to have been all a plan. And actually, kudos to him, because I didn't waste my money. Yeah, 100. Thanks, Sierra. So that was Saturday night. I was alone all day Saturday. I was going to go to Virginia Beach and all that, but by the time I went to the McDonald's down the street, had a bite to eat, talked to a person that worked for the bus company. The next bus was an hour later, and it was already 3, and I knew by being by myself I was at risk, and going all the way with all those people in the summertime in August of 2 years ago. I wouldn't get back until dark, and then I'd be going into my room in the dark, and so I hung out. I hung out by myself in my room, watched TV and whatnot. So Friday morning, Saturday night, and then I was alone all day Sunday because she was probably around or whatever. And then I got to say goodbye Sunday night. Okay? And you know why I'm coming clean with this? I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons. Because my plane left Monday morning, or afternoon, and I didn't think I was going to leave on Sunday, but I made it so I could stay an extra day. And I'm glad, because a hurricane was coming on Monday, and I didn't think my flight would even leave. It was delayed by 2 hours, and there was water up to the dang tires when the cab took me to the airport. And I was kind of nervous, about flying, but I had to do what I had to do. And my plane got rerouted to Texas. Or I was supposed to fly straight through this time. And I was all excited because I had to go from Seattle to Arizona for an hour and a half, get on a plane, fly into Carolina, then go from Carolina into Norfolk, or Norfolk, however you guys pronounce it. And so anyway, he was like, don't worry, how many planes, crash, how many have crashed in the last whatever, few years. And I'm like, well, not very many, and this and that and the other thing. So I was never told to come. But when I made my decision not to waste my $711 ticket, I was going, whether I saw him or not. And literally, as it got closer to my flight leaving, he was reaching out. I'm just going to say it. And I don't care if she likes it or not. Okay? Maybe things are all good with them now. This isn't about being a scorned woman or something like that. Okay? I kind of knew what I was getting myself into after he told me, because I asked him about PJ on Messenger. I said, what, are you kind of seeing her maybe? There's just talk and chat that she's your girlfriend and all this. His exact words were, we're on and off. We're on and off. Now, maybe it was like that then until she moved in and got into his business 1,000%, you know, and it made it look like he couldn't handle his livelihood or his heart attack that he had or anything without her. But boy, did she get in there, and she got in there fast. Now, is she good for him? Possibly. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But in the beginning, things were extremely rocky with those two. That's why I use the word clout. If you don't treat someone like you love them or are in love with them, and honestly, you guys, I was in love with him. I was falling for him. I was up on his channel every night for a year or more. And I don't know, I heard through Maggie from the UK that he wanted me to be co-host with him. And I was in frickin' shock. Shock. But elated. How interesting that she sits up there with him now and then. With her constant frown. Yeah, they fought a lot in the beginning, Sierra. And, you know, anyway, so I got to say goodbye to Jimmy on Sunday night. He wanted me to come back in 2 weeks. He said on Messenger, can you come back in a couple of weeks? I must have done something right. We must have had a nice time. And he's very easy to talk to. And he takes control, if you know what I mean. He takes control. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of neat because you know what's going to happen before you even know what's going to happen because he takes control. So, yeah, Sierra. And I wasn't planning on bringing up these details. I'm telling you right now, I've got a live setup, but I'm tired of people, of her just posting her little psycho thing. When it takes two, PJ, it takes two. Okay? I watched that show, Cheaters. I've seen it many, many times, probably every episode, because it's kind of addicting, and it is real. Real people. One father who found out what was going on with his wife and his daughter's boyfriend on Cheaters, you know, that show in Texas with Joe, what's-his-face, had a heart attack. Ambulance came and everything. Apparently he was okay, but if men aren't getting what they want, which is attention, playfulness, men like playful women. And I don't mean just like in the bedroom, okay? They like to be playful. They don't want someone that's going to an amusement park, like I saw a couple years ago, dragging their feet, can't keep up with them, complaining how hot they are, and when they want to eat, okay? I'm just going to say it, you guys. I'm just so fed up. I'm so fed up. And I find it very interesting she didn't go live again today. I'm actually glad. I'm so glad. And she didn't go live yesterday. Because she needs to be knocked down off her high horse a little bit. I'm sick of her entitlement. I'm not at all jealous of all the things she gets and all the places she goes and going to Florida and using that travel fund, you know, probably to go to TJ Maxx and buy this and that and the other thing and this and that and the other thing. Okay, whatever. What they do their money with, spend their money on, is their business. What I don't like is her calling him a fainting goat. Who does that? And this is the thing. If she wants to say things like that, don't say it on live. You profess to love this man? I call bullshit. You're using him. You're using him for clout. You're using him for money. You're using him for your channel. There is no way you're in love with him. Now, if he died, oh, you'd be sad and you'd think back on all that he's done for you. But you treat him like crap, PJ, and you know it, especially behind his back. Just because you make him a sandwich now and then, just because you go get his meds, just because you laid with him in the hospital bed when he had a heart attack, to me doesn't mean that much. It just doesn't. Because actions speak louder than words, but your words overcompensate for your actions. They just do. Okay? And calling him a man-child in the past, that's really hurtful. All right? And we all know his mom passed away, 9-10 years ago? Good. I'm glad 47 are watching from the bushes. But, you know, and he does need a man in his life. And when I asked him about PJ, and he said on and off, and I was just kind of stunned, you know, because he had reached out to me first. I didn't even know what a fucking DM was. I'd never been on Messenger or Facebook or anything. And, but the thing is, shoot, I lost my train of thought. He just, neither of them are who they portray to be. Why do you think she says constantly, we're solid, we're solid? If you're so damn solid, you don't have to say you're solid, okay? And then pretending that ring was an engagement ring. Oh my God. As soon as I saw it, no matter what it looks like, I knew it wasn't an engagement, you guys. That's just not Jimmy. And for 2.5 years, I've been saying, haven't I? Haven't I? I've been saying, Jimmy does what he wants to. Okay? And this is why she needs all these times off to travel with him now everywhere. She doesn't trust him. Now, maybe he's trustworthy now. Maybe he is. Maybe all this BHB stuff, you know, and me finally just coming clean. You know, this is a thing. You obviously know I'm not coming clean to go back over there. I haven't wanted to be in chat or over there. I barely have time to watch the show. I have family dying and all this in different parts of the states. My sister in Missouri, my mom in Iowa. It's not that. It's that I'm a real person. Sierra is a real person with real feelings. And when you get sucked into these sort of things that you're willing to let yourself do because you know he's not happy, and you want to make him happy by meeting him, bringing him a gift, whatever it is, or helping him out, on his uncensored show, you're going to do that. Okay? There's no doubt in my mind that there aren't, I would dare say, well, I was going to say thousands, maybe hundreds of women out there that would love to meet him and see what he's really like. And I have no regrets of what I've done. I just don't. So, another thing, why do you think poor Jimmy always says, well, PJ's going to stab me in the neck if I say whatever? Or he brings up her shooting skills a few weeks ago, or I gotta watch out so I don't go missing from her. Why do you think? I think he's scared. So, do I think that this truth serum is going to make any difference in their relationship and them still going on trips and her doing her little live tomorrow and pretending everything's okay and all this? Do I think that's going to change? No. They need each other right now. And that surpasses the love and the kindness and the respect that she is not able to give to him, who does so much, who I had so much respect for in the past. She should have been able to tell something when he threw a big birthday, not bash, but a big birthday thing for me on his live in a June of, was it 3 years ago or 2? And then her birthday rolls around 2 months later. He didn't do that for her. Why? And I think it's, he's a generous man. He also likes, he likes money, and he wants to keep things fluid in his life. But he deserves good things in life, and he deserves a good woman. And she's not it. She's not. Okay? Am I it? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, you never know. But I'm clear over here. And is Sierra it? She's a ways away now too. And she'd probably be better for him. He'd physically be more damn happy. But it just felt, it's, I'm not gonna, I don't know, you guys. I just want him to be happy. And maybe he is. Maybe he is. And she mothers him, and maybe he needs that, like a motherly woman. And maybe they have physical contact once in a blue moon. I don't know. But it is because of him that I have a channel and I have friends now, and I thought my mom was going to live to be in her 90s. And I thought my sister was going to do more chemo treatments. And I thought I don't know. It's life. You don't know what life is going to bring. And so far this month, it's been hard for me, but revealing, very revealing. And so I'm revealing my life with you guys. So think about all the hell I got over on Bombalicious or whatever years ago when they were playing clips of my private messages to Destiny. Okay? And she said, I used to like PJ and all that. I can't stand her. Okay? It was believable. She can buddy up now if she wants. I call BS. But different parts were spliced and this and that. And then we got people who are probably in love with Dolly Vision too. or used to be, I'm going to say it on here, like Dumpling, okay? Why is she just biting at the bit to get the other messages, okay? And Ann Horn hated me. Luckily, before she passed, a good year back or something, when I came up on panel the last time in October, I was the only one dressed up for Halloween. Everyone else had done it the day before. And I think she came up. And I kind of jokingly said, oh, I better not be up here. Anne hates me or something. Just, I said hate. And she said, or doesn't like me or dislikes me or has disdain for me. I might have said that. And she said, no, and it was squashed. And so for her to know, not that she cares at all, but for her to know, I didn't hate her and she, I guess, didn't hate me. But all these discords out there and people talking and people DMing, and I was invited to a Discord, quite a few. And one is Matthew Silly AF. And I told him, because before he interviewed me a little bit that night on his program, he likes to call people on Messenger. I thought he would text me. He called me. And we talked a little bit, and he brought that up. And no, I think it's a joke. I think people let their hair down and they're maybe drinking and doing other things and might say something they wish they hadn't, and then it's blasted. Okay, I've been through enough bull crap and even cyberbullying to where I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care. People can say whatever they want. I'm shocked I lived past the age of 40. I took risks. I partied. I hitchhiked to Montreal to see the Chippendale strippers with a bunch of girls. We didn't even, a bunch of guys, but I was with 3 other girls. Getting in cars, we didn't even know who they were. Just stupid, risky stuff. So I can blurt out that I'm 63. And I can blurt out that I'll be 64 June 27. It's shocking. It really, really is. But now my dad's passed, my mom's passed, my sister's passed. And, like I was telling Sierra yesterday in Messenger, it's just me now. Because even though I have like an aunt and an uncle in Iowa, I sent him a Christmas card. But I just got a notification from Team Rose. I haven't been close for a long time. I saw my family at reunions, and not everybody could make them, and they were about one every 7 years, if that. And there was a reunion when my son was 6, and there was a reunion when I was 19, so he wasn't born yet, and there was a reunion. We flew when he was a baby on the plane to Iowa, so my grandparents could meet Parker when he was a baby. My sister and my mom flew here when Parker was 10, and then my mom just came when my daughter was 4 or 5. So, and my mom flew shortly after Parker was born, my firstborn. So she did a lot of flying, and she did so much she popped her eardrum thing. And not just coming here, but flying to Vermont, and there was some kind of legal battle that her and her husband were dealing with the University of Vermont, and money that he was owed and due by his father being the head something or other. So her just hopping on a plane stopped, you know, and you guys all know in 2011 I took a train there when Shaylin was 7. And my dad couldn't make it because of his heart, so I couldn't see my dad, but I saw my Auntie Lona, and it was the last time, about 5-6 years later, because she was dealing with breast cancer and in remission and then not. She passed. So, you know, Mom sends me the obituary papers and everything. So what I mostly have are bags and bags and bags of letters. I mean bags. And in fact, I'm going to pull one up. Ow, I've been sitting on my knees for a long time. I'm going to just, this is one bag, all right? Because you guys, when you live far away from family, sometimes all you can do is write. This is one bag. Look at that, of letters. Okay, I have 2 more bags like this. This isn't counting all the cards I've saved, you know, and that kind of thing. Oh, I've been sharing stuff for ages because this is the thing. This is the thing, hun. People, you know, dissed me for going to Virginia and meeting Jimmy instead of seeing my mom because it had been so long. But we thought we had more time. And again, she had company from Chicago and Vermont. She didn't know 3 years later, she was going to die. She died because she put herself on hospice because she had stomach cancer. And she was 82. I mean, or let's see, she's 21 years older than me, so yeah, she would be 84. No, she died in February, her birthday's, yeah, she was 82, getting closer to 83. And that's just not the case. We talked every summer. We thought we had more time. So this is just one bag of umpteen letters. And I wanted to show you guys because what I talk about is truth. Letter after letter. See? There's one from my mom. Here's a card from my mom. Love, Mom and Steve. Down on the bottom, MOM and Steve. It's a postcard. It says Ferris. I don't know. Dear Megan, a postcard of the Orange Grove Juice Bar in our fair city. Oh, this is when she lived in Floral City. Yep, Floral City, Florida. See? Floral City, Florida. I know it's backwards on here. Life can and will be good again. We love you. Take care of yourself and the kids. Okay, so I must have been going through a hard time then. Here's one of many. Floral City, Florida. So I got Florida in here, Iowa in here. And this is, you know, when you don't live near your kids, this is what it is. You write and you call on the phone. So, oh my God, I got so much stuff in this closet, and it's actually organized. Raspberry tea, pure leaf. And yes, I have tremors. Had them since 1989, but they didn't start getting bad until 5 years ago or something. So who's all here? Let's just see what's going on. And you know what's weird? Is I've gotten so much support of what I've been saying. Oh my God, Locked and Loaded, you're so funny. Yeah, I did that silly soap commercial. He put it in Patreon or whatever so he could make money. Isn't that funny? Oh. Oops, oh my God. Okay, so where am I? Oh, Sammy Bumma Bee. Open to dating, Sammy. I was back with the guy I was seeing for 8 years. And I don't know, like when I was sick with a cold and a flu, you know, there for a while, I think he thought I could just bounce back in 2 days. And I wasn't appreciating his pushiness. And we tried to talk it out. You know, I said, I don't think you believe in your heart and soul that I'm really sick. Because when you get older and you get these little things, you guys, it's not just a damn sniffle. It's body aches for weeks. And then when you do feel better, you're weak. That's the difference as you get older and get these. And I can see why people die from the flu and things like that. Oh, Sidekick says, if you hurt PJ, you're hurting him because he loves her. Well, yeah, he loves her. But I'm not hurting anybody. Because frankly, she knew. She knew. That's why I can't be in chat. I can't even be in the old other chat. Sierra and I were just talking with a few friends in a different chat on a different channel, the Jimmy Jams one or something. And she found out and boom, I was blocked. And we were talking about, it was Koberger, I believe. I don't think defamation and slander or anything will be threatened on me because I haven't been saying this. I mean, I've hinted to it here and there, but that's when people in chat are like, were you with him or not? You know, and you know, but you know, and another reason I came clean is why can't I say my truth when he thinks his truth is all right about these protests when they're flat not? Okay? I mean, so what if someone's dressed like a pickle? Okay? He had a turtle mask on. Like whatever those people are called, Michelangelo and all those, the turtle whatever, at a missing or deceased child's, well, I don't know if we knew he was deceased then or just missing, thing in Georgia. So he needs to think back and look back at his life and remember what he did. You know, if he wants to just love ICE and care more that they get home to their families than all these innocent people being fucking ripped out of their homes their beds in boxer shorts, like that old man. Oh, and then they're wrong and they just release him. That's what pisses me off, okay? That pisses me off. If he could sit over there on his channel and say, oh, they're just going for the illegals and the immigrants and the bad people. No, they're not. No, they're not. Why are they being released back into society 2 days ago? Many of them. 2 young girls with a little bit light brown skin were going to a thrift shop. They weren't protesting. They got pulled over. It's racial profiling. And when I heard him yesterday say, because I've been peeking at his protest things to see if he's dialed down his rhetoric a little bit of his beliefs on the Republican side, he said his daughter is part Hispanic or Latino or Mexican or something. Well, you know what? She better not visit damn Minnesota. Like, probably ever. But he can be all fine and okay with everything because the damn Gestapo isn't in Virginia Beach area, you know, in Chesapeake and all that. They're not there. Yesterday they were in Portland, Maine. You know, and this is the thing. The video I'm going to show, this guy is white and he's German. And just because he had the teeniest little drug infraction thing that actually was dismissed in court and everything, they grabbed this guy and, you know, detained him for 2 months in a facility. And I believe they even moved him to another state after that. He ended up getting really sick, and I'm going to play his story. And it's not even as bad as a lot of the ones we don't know about. Now there's talk. Okay, I don't know if this is true. I want to kind of be careful. But there's a program called Status Coup. C-O-U-P, Status Coup. And these guys go out in the freezing cold. He was like in his young 20s. And after he talked for 20 minutes in this, what did he say? It was like 8 degrees below zero, but the wind chill made it colder because, you know, they got the lakes right there. And I mean, you could see people's pants flapping and everything. It was really cold, like frickin' Alaska or something. And he was coughing. He was like, like that. He was having a hard time reporting. Now, there's talk, and he said, MS0426, very sweet lady that I know now, sent me this, and I did watch it. And there's talk that and the guy on Status Coup said this is a rumor. It's just a rumor so far, but they're looking into it. People that weren't supposed to be abducted, basically, and taken to these places, they're simply releasing out in the woods here and there, in the cold. Some of them without hardly any clothes on. Okay, because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to look bad. What if there's some truth to that? This shit's scary. So the more and more and more I heard Jimmy favor ICE and favor the ICE agents and picking on and belittling the protesters, the more angry I got. And I was just like, man, no. So, you know, Jimmy has passion. Okay, we know that. I know that. But does he have a lot of compassion? Compassion for the Somalians. My God, what if he was from Somalia? you know? This is serious, you guys. This is so damn serious. And I'm going to play a video of the DOC, Department of Corrections, basically showing that lies have been stated about criminals being picked up off the streets. Okay, guess what? They were like already incarcerated and some of them released, okay? These, I mean, they're back home. It's like I only listened to a little bit in the beginning, but they made it look like they found these criminals on the streets when they were holding up papers and showing faces. I couldn't believe it. This channel is about truth. This isn't about just streaming and mocking protests, okay? And I've never done a protest and never will. They're too damn dangerous, frankly. But if they want to be out there in the cold, good for them. Status Quo asked two guys, why are you out here in this cold? And they said, we have to do something. If we're just standing here with a sign, we're doing something. We have to do something. And this whole thing lit my britches when Jimmy said on his live 2 or 3 days ago now, 3 I think, there's no reason to protest. It's not going to do any good. It's not going to change anything. And then he said, we're going to have Trump or Vance or the Republicans in office for many years to come. The hell we are. The hell we are. Okay? The people run this place. The people. Not one man that has malignant narcissism. Malignant. Malignant means someone that lies all the time. This kind of narcissism. It's also someone that's very impulsive. And it was such a good program. So, all right. So anyway, Sierra, no one's going to press charges. Now, if I go on and on, because now I said something about my experience in Virginia 2 days ago and then today, you know, maybe. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. And if he ever, like if she demands for him to get up on there and say, you say that you never met PCT or I'm moving out, because she's threatened that kind of stuff before too in different situations, and he denies ever meeting me, it's a lie, okay? Sorry, it's a lie. But don't be surprised if it doesn't happen, because for some odd reason she didn't go live this morning. She'll say she was tired or sick or couldn't make it to work, and tomorrow she'll come on and say everything's solid and wonderful. But I mean, I've seen her lash out at women in her chat, or no, in the comments after. She has to like be right, and she has to, I mean, this is someone that might have subbed to her, and if they do one little thing of disagreeing with her or anything, yeah. And by the way, if this showed, I have a Band-Aid because this ring's too big, but my mom sent it to me. Isn't it pretty? Light green. For Christmas 2 years ago, I think, or maybe 3. Anyway, she attacked her in comments. Like, oh my God, just either let it go or don't heart it. I couldn't believe it. All right, so let me peek at this and we'll get to these shows. Sierra gets me in trouble, Sammy. No, I'm not gonna go on Queen Bees. That, you know, I'm not, this isn't about fucking clicks and views or anything. This is about a new year, flipping kind of a new me. Um, I'm tired of it. It's not. He hasn't lied about me, and I was never anything, more than anything. But I I guess I just want to be heard. I want to be heard, and I want to be heard about how I feel about him dissing the protesters, and I want to be heard how he's so much for damn ice. I, I'm in shock and have been. Yeah, getting it off my shoulders, and she can just sweep it under the rug and go on with her merry little life that honestly, for the first 2 years or 2.5, has been a lie. Her life's been a lie. Well, thank you. Thanks for that compliment on my ring. Um, no, I know. I know Jimmy isn't like racist, but why is he for ICE? You guys, he's like, they need to get home to their families. They're just doing a job. No, they're not. They're terrorizing people. They're ripping families apart. A father and a 5-year-old got 5-year-old got taken out of his school and ended up being separated from his father. I'm going to play that. Recently in Minnesota, this is sick. They're emotionally killing people, and physically at times, beating them up until they can't hardly do anything. There's no due process, you guys. None. So the first one I'm going to play is this one. Yeah, see, that one last cupcake alone just said, yeah. And I mean, it's happening all over. Okay, so I'm showing, okay, so here's, okay. Let me get to this.
Reach out to Bhavani or someone else.
Oh, good grief.
To reach out to Bhavani or someone else for you.
Oh, shit.
The Border Patrol officers did not allow them to really speak to me like that. They cut them off immediately when they were trying to say things like that. The nurse was the only one that was like, she said, this is messed up. That's not the exact words she used, but she looked at me and she said, this is so messed up.
Oh, wait, that's not the beginning.
Luckily,
okay.
I just want to get started with, how does it feel for you to be free? I just want to get started
this
with,
is the
how
guy.
does it feel for you to be free right now?
Mixed emotions. I'm happy to be outside, obviously being free, not in federal prison or in a detention center.
Few days ago.
I'm still a little bit scared and anxious because I'm adjusting slowly but surely to
a grown man
back out in the real world.
adjusting.
And obviously, once you've had such a traumatic experience,
not a child,
it comes with, I would say, some sort of postpartum, scares and stuff like that. So I'm still very shook. It's the best word. I feel shook at sometimes, especially when I see a law enforcement vehicle pulling up or something like that. It still gives me the creeps and makes me feel uncomfortable.
Fabian, you were released last Thursday, is that correct?
Yeah, I was released Thursday right around 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., between 6 and 7 from the Burlington, Mass. ICE detention or intake area.
And I guess after so many weeks of being detained, I
That's
mean,
right.
I think a lot of us saw your fiance's videos on Facebook, just sort of updating the world about your circumstances, her communication with you. Like,
Yeah.
what was that day like for you? Like, from the beginning, Thursday?
Okay, so Thursday, so that day on Thursday, I was obviously still in the Donald Wire detention facility. I had woken up in the morning and I was told I had court. And in prison, you need to put on your jail outfit or prison outfit, basically your striped clothes, to be able to go to court. So I put my stuff on and I waited in this long line to go to court. And I was then informed that I was going to be in the second group. And I waited patiently, and they give you a tablet in jail, like an Android tablet that you can use for phone calls and text messaging. And I looked at my tablet, and I received a message from my fiance, and I looked, and it said, "Baby, you won. You're going to be free." And I had not even gone to court yet, so I'm like, oh my goodness, am I hallucinating? Is there something wrong? So then one of the correctional officers comes up to me and says, "No, your court case has been shifted. You don't have court anymore." He couldn't have an answer what happened. He just said, "You don't have court anymore." So I went to one of the silver telephones and I called my fiance, and she couldn't even talk. It was really hard to understand what she was saying. She's like, baby, you won. I was like, "Can you loop in Mr. Keller, please, so that way I can talk to my attorney, David Keller?" And
is this the beginning?
it turns out that David goes, "Dude, within 2 minutes, your case was dismissed. We're working hard on getting you out of the building. I think you have a good chance at being free today." And then that phone call ended. And at about 4 o'clock, which is 3.5 hours after this phone call, I was taken down to the detention release and booking area where 2 ICE agents were waiting for me. And they put me in handcuffs and feet shackles and put a chain around my waist and transported me somewhere else. So at this moment in time, I mean, whether someone tells you you're going to be free or not, it was really hard to believe I was going to be free because, again, I'm in shackles and I'm being transported somewhere in a black van. And I had no idea where I was going, but they took me to Burlington, Mass, and to the ICE facility. And then when I got there, they started the procedures of release, and I remember multiple people that worked there were like, "Oh my God, that's the famous guy, that's Fabian Schmidt," and they asked me questions. They were actually quite nice people there, and they released me from my handcuffs and my shackles and gave me my luggage, and I was introduced to a couple people, and then they let me out the front door where Bhavani was waiting, and as soon as she ran into my arms, I was just ecstatic because I finally got to hug her, and it was a big moment to breathe fresh air and to have your partner back. And very slowly, I then realized that I wasn't in prison anymore. And
I thought this was the beginning.
We drove home.
Well, Fabian, your mother, she was the one who first raised your case too.
Okay, this isn't what I wanted to show. Oh my gosh. So this is him getting freed. You know, later on. I wanted you guys to hear what he went through. Gosh. Thought that was it. Let me see. This is it.
Moment to breathe fresh air and to have your partner back, and very slowly I then realized that
I just want to get started with, how does it feel for you to be free?
Okay, this is not. Or is it? Oh, okay.
Mixed emotions. I'm happy to be busy to tell me, like, I need to know what's going on. They said you can't have any of that, and they placed me in one of the waiting.
Okay.
Having been detained, looking back at it, I'm a very blessed man, to be honest with you. So yeah, I have a daughter. She makes my life a lot better, that's for sure. So I have my release, and I remember multiple people that worked there were like, "Oh my God, that's the famous guy. That's Fabian Schmidt." And they asked me questions. They were actually quite nice people there. And
Okay.
they released me from my handcuffs and my shackles and gave me my luggage. And
This
I was
is the
introduced to
one.
a couple people, and then they let me out the front door where Bhavani was waiting. And as soon as she ran into my arms, I was just ecstatic because I finally got to hug her, and I was, man.
He
It was a
talks
big
about
moment
his
to breathe fresh air
experience
and to have your
after
partner
this.
back. And very slowly, I then realized that I wasn't in prison anymore, and I got into the car and we drove home.
Okay.
Fabian, your mother, she was the one who first raised your case to us, and she had sort of described, like, you've been here in the United States since 2007. You have a long history here in New England. I mean, what was your life like just before the detention at Logan Airport? Like, you were a New Hampshire father, right?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I have a daughter. She makes my life a lot better, that's for sure. So I have my daughter, and then I am an electrical project lead at work. I work for two fantastic companies that are in the same universe, sisters to each other, and I get to work with a talented team of engineers and technicians that I get to lead into the world of manufacturing every day. So I have a really good job and a great company. Also in love with my fiance, and I have a dog, so I have a pretty regular life. I work a lot, and when I don't work, I try to help out in the community. I work with people out of sober living. I try to help them get rehoused and find jobs, just because I know there's a big need for community support here. So I try to be as involved as I can. I have a great group of friends, and it's just, my life was pretty blissful, actually. I never saw that coming, so I took a lot of that stuff for granted. So I would say my life was amazing. I mean, definitely now I would say that, because coming out of having been detained, looking back at it, I'm a very blessed man, to be honest with you. So.
Fabian, that was going to be my next question. Like, the day you were coming back from Europe, you were detained at Logan Airport. What happened that day? Like, were you getting off the plane and it happened immediately?
So on that day, I came back from a 7-day vacation. I had to go see my dad. It was imperative to see some family members, and came back with my legal green card that I just obtained again. Like, this is my third green card. I've been here so long. You renew them temporarily and periodically, and I had a brand new green card and a brand new German passport, and I walked through customs and I showed my documentations. I didn't think there was going to be any issues, and at that moment they told me I had to go to secondary security checkpoint, and I was walked to a holding room, a detention, or not detention, but more of an interrogation room. It has room for like 200 people, and as soon as I stepped foot in there, I started getting violently interrogated, verbally abused, and like, this, that, you have this on your record. I have a minor misdemeanor in 2016 that was already, in my opinion, that was already closed, and it was such a lightweight charge, and then I had a DUI as well, and I had gone to court for him. It was settled, I never thought that something like that would keep me from being able to enter the United States. So the guys that were interrogating me didn't even tell me why they were stopping me there. So after about 20 minutes of interrogation, they were like, all right, you need to see the supervisor. You need to go see the supervisor. So they took me into this room where they strip searched me and looked through my luggage, and then took my smartwatch off my wrist. And then they asked them if I could have a phone call, because it obviously seemed like I was being detained. And they said, no, you can't contact anybody. I was like, what about a legal team? And they said, no. I was like, can you guys call my embassy to tell me, like, I need to know what's going on? And they said, you can't have any of that. And they placed me in one of the chairs to wait. And yeah, that's kind of like when I realized that my life wasn't going to be the same, because I had never been talked to in such an aggressive manner about, the interrogations were pretty, like, to the point and horrendous. They were scary. It was scary to be put in the spotlight where they're asking you, how much money do you have in your bank account? What do you do for a living? Where do your parents live? What does your dad do for a living? What does your mom do for a living? And I tried telling them all the right information, which I don't have anything to hide in those aspects. But none of that was enough. And then they told me that they didn't even know why they had to hold me. They had to make calls to lawyers that were then going to make a decision on whether I was going to be released that night. One of the supervisors made the decision that I was inadmissible at the moment, and he told me the reason he's not letting me go is because I have a green card and I'm a flight risk. He told me I was a flight risk and that he was scared that I was going to enter through a southern border. And I tried reminding him that I was from Germany.
Oh my God.
I have a good pedigree, a good family. None of us would ever sneak into a border, nor do I need to sneak into a border. I'm a legal permanent resident that's lived here for 18 years. And I was shut down. And I was held in this waiting room until about 1 a.m. in the morning. And then they rolled out this little tiny mattress, like a cot. And they let me sleep on that in this waiting room filled with people. There was probably like maybe 6 to 7 employees there. The lights were on. And I got to sleep until, I don't know, I think I got like 3.5 hours of sleep. And then they woke me up, folded the bed back, had me take a seat back in the chair. And they then, during the daytime, interrogated me some more, asked me many questions. They said,
It was Saturday by this point? Like, you flew in on and then it was Saturday?
Yeah, this is Saturday. So then on Saturday, they woke me up. And I remember I started sweating profusely and I started feeling really weak and I didn't really know what was wrong with me. I thought it was just anxiety or something of the sort. And they fed me a lukewarm cup of noodle, and gave me a bottle of water. And then I ended up sitting in that chair for 18 hours, the same 2 chairs in this room, while many people passed in and out. And then they rolled out that little bed for me again, and I got another 3.5, 4 hours of sleep. And then the next day, same thing again. I was interrogated some more. I kept asking for contact with an attorney, a family member, with the embassy. I didn't even know they called my fiance outside. She sat there for 5.5 hours waiting for me in the parking lot, freaking out, crying, devastated, shocked, did not know why I was there, how long I was going to be in there for. Neither did any of my family members. So that night went on, and I started feeling a lot weaker. I mean, now we're on Saturday night, and I had another cup of noodle that night, and they rolled that bed out again, and I got another 3.5, 4 hours of sleep, got woken up again early in the morning. And now at this point, I'm feeling really physically ill. Like my chest was hurting, my stomach was going crazy. I didn't feel myself at all. I was just going down a slippery slope, and the Border Patrol agents kept on, talking to me, and some of them interrogated me some more, and basically I kept asking them for contact with my embassy. They wouldn't put me in contact with anybody. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody at all, nor did they have a reason for holding me, so they couldn't tell me. They said the lawyers are working on it. That was the answer. And then quickly Sunday night approached, and then same procedure again. I sat in the same 2 chairs for 18 hours, and cup of noodle, and then bottled water. And then I woke up in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I remember going to the bathroom, and I just collapsed, fainted in the bathroom, hit on the ground pretty hard. And then after I collapsed, I went over to one of the Border Patrol agents, and I told him I collapsed and I needed to go to the hospital. My chest was pounding, and I didn't know what was wrong with me because I sweated through my clothes. And he said, "Oh, you're just gonna med out like everybody, huh?" That's the verbatim words. I was like, "Med out? I don't even know what that means exactly, but I need some medical attention, that's for sure." And then they ended up calling an ambulance. I was handcuffed to a gurney, and 2 of the officials took me over to Mass General Hospital, where I was treated and diagnosed with influenza and severe anxiety. And the influenza had kicked me a pretty decent-sized fever, so I was sweating profusely because of the fever, and obviously all the symptoms that come along with that. After about a 4-hour stay at Mass General, in a very, very private assessment of what was wrong with me, the officers were watching that the whole time, even though the doctors asked multiple times for them to leave and give me my privacy. They said their supervisor demanded that they stood right there and watched me go through this procedure, right? And they said that they needed to watch my fever, monitor my fever, and give me medication to make sure they could control the flu symptoms, so that way I wouldn't be in pain, and I needed a lot of rest and a quiet area to recuperate. They took me back into that same room that I was just talking about earlier. I was put back in the same two chairs. Another grueling 18 hours went by. They rolled out the same little bed, and in the morning, one of the supervisors came and grabbed me and told me that there was a chance that I could get a temporary green card and I would be released, and then I could come back on June 2nd to face a court, a judge. And after about 2 hours of this gentleman and I working on the temporary paperwork, the supervisor came in and said, "You're not effing going home. You're staying here. You're going to go somewhere where there's lots of immigrants, a hospital, and a gym." That's what he told me. I was then put in a secluded cell that was upstairs. They handcuffed me, basically walked me through the airport to some door where I went upstairs into this little tiny holding cell that was extremely dirty. There was feces in the toilet, urine everywhere, a little tiny bed. And when I got in there, I just started pounding on the door. I just would not stop pounding on the door. And I said, "Call the embassy. Show me that you're calling my embassy," because I knew my rights. I knew that they had to call the embassy. They can't just hold me without contacting the embassy, because I'm on an international border at Boston Logan Airport. You're not even really in the United States until you leave the international border.
Funny then. How long were you at Mass General Hospital for?
About 6 hours.
Just 6 hours?
Yeah, they took me away right away. They didn't want to. They said that I don't know what the exact words, because they talked to them confidentially, but they were pretty adamant of getting me out of there. Plus, I'm in an emergency room at Mass General, and they don't, unless you're like bleeding out or have some kind of an actual real life threatening critical condition, they're not going to occupy a bed there. And they didn't know where I was being held. They had no idea.
Were you given any medications for your IV fluid to help with the dehydration?
No, IV fluids were put in me because I was able to consume water, and when I was there, I drank plenty of water. So they gave me all the water I could drink and a sandwich, and they gave me food, and I knew that it was crucial for me to take those things in. So I got medication for the anxiety, 2 for a little bit of the flu symptoms, but the fever was kicking, so they reduced my fever in there, which made me feel better. And yeah.
So you went back to the airport, and then you were transferred to Wyatt.
Yeah, in the morning time of Tuesday, I was put in that holding cell I was telling you about. When I kept pounding on the door, they said, "Don't worry, we're going to transfer you." Then they put me in hand and feet shackles and threw me in the back of a white Border Patrol cruiser car. And consistently, they just made some inappropriate jokes about me, and were just, in general, very prejudiced. I couldn't even believe that I was being talked to like that. I didn't know where we're going, but it turns out now I know where we went. We were on our way to Rhode Island to the Donald Wyatt detention facility.
The men who were making fun of you, what type of jokes did they make without going into great detail? Like, can you talk a bit more about it?
Why didn't you become a citizen? Don't you like this country? And I was like, I love this country. So just things like that egging me on for why I wasn't a citizen yet. And, what's your wife think about all this? Or do you have a dog at home? I bet he misses you. Made a stupid joke about driving with holding Dunkin' Donuts in one hand. I hope I don't crash with this Dunkin' Donuts in my hand. Just immature, childish, facetious comments that shouldn't have been something that you tell somebody that was in the predicament I'm in. And I also got made fun of for meting out and doing what every immigrant does that's scared. So that right there was, for me, it was just like, it was degrading, it was dehumanizing, it was horrendous. People should not be treated like that, especially when they're in distress. And I realized when I went to the Donald Wyatt detention facility, when I got there, you arrive at prison, which is shocking for someone like myself that's never been to a level 3 prison. It's not like it's any prison. It's a level 3, which is like maximum security. So you can just tell that they have a different agenda there. They keep high-profile criminals. Criminals have done some heinous acts against humanity inside of these prisons, and they made me strip down again, gave me jail clothes, put me in an elevator, took me upstairs to the level 4 yard, which they used to keep ICE detainees. But mind you, every single person in there has committed like a felony or some large drug violation, some way more crazy stuff than I ever did in my life. So when I got there, it was loud, it was bright, people were yelling at me. I got put in a cell with another guy that was a murderer and a Brazilian guy. But I will say that the COs at Donald Wyatt, it's a different environment than Border Patrol. They don't make fun of you. They don't like poke at you. They're just doing their job. You know, you can tell they're more professional for sure, at least less prejudiced. I wouldn't say I felt safe, but I could tell that the abuse with the food and the verbal lashings was going to stop. I knew that I was finally going to be getting at least 2% humanity in there, because the guys weren't like attacking me per se. And I remember being really scared when I walked in there because there were so many people, and I could tell that it was a wild place. I mean, the first day I was there, a fight broke out, and we were locked into our cells for 29 hours without being able to leave the cell. So me and the new acquaintance I had just made were locked in close. Mind you, I still had the flu, so he got to see not the pretty side of me for the first 24 hours.
And at what point were you able to make contact with family, your fiance, or an attorney?
As soon as I got to the prison, they gave me a phone call. And that phone call, I used to call my mother. And then within 12 hours, I got a tablet that gave me the permission to call Vani, my fiance. And she then worked a couple days on providing me with the best attorney she could find, which is David Keller. And then he became part of my life after 2 days in the detention facility.
What was communication like with Vani and David? Were you able to access calls or emails easily?
I didn't get no emails ever, but I did get calls from 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. at night. You can call your attorney on a non-recorded line, and you can talk to your spouse that's verified on the phone as much as you can afford. It's very expensive to call, so you can call as much as you want, and your tablet has to be charged. So when you're in lockup, like we were, when they lock you into your cell, because when other people fight, you get locked in, so then you can't charge your tablet. So when your tablet dies, you can't call anybody because you don't have access to a phone.
And
thanks,
what
Cheesy
was it
Mary.
like living in a nice facility for you?
It was dehumanizing and scary. So my second day that I was there, the ICE agent pulls me out of my cell. At this point, congressmen and senators had reached out to the facility and the ICE agents, so they put political pressure, which I cannot thank them enough for, because immediately I was getting some attention in the sense of they were trying actively to make sure that I was treated okay, right? So, mind you, I'm still in this level 3 prison, so you're on your own. You have to be your own man in there. You can't just... There's no such thing as protection in a level 3 prison. The guy literally called me into his little office and said that I was in there with the most horrendous crimes. And I asked him, like, murder? And he's like, no, worse than that. And I was like, rape? And he's like, no, even worse than that. And I was like, child rape? He's like, yep, there's a guy in here that raped an 8-year-old child. That's why he basically told me, watch your P's and Q's. You're in here with the worst of the worst. And that, when I heard that, it scared me. And I realized after seeing many fights and hearing conversations that this is not just going to be easy to be in here. So
understanding about why you were detained.
I didn't have one. I had no idea. I knew that in 2016 I had gotten into some misdemeanor trouble, which was irrelevant because it was already settled, I thought. And it didn't come with any immigration consequences. I was never informed of immigration consequences, even though I had an attorney. So after 24 days, then they finally said they were charging me with a controlled substance charge in 2016. But that controlled substance charge was from a collegiate party that I attended, and it was a substance that was thrown on the ground, and they arrested me on the front yard of someone's property for being drunk in public, even though I was in a yard. So that case, one, the substance was never tested. B, the substance was not mine. C, the charges dismissed in a court of law, so it was not even something they could use anyway. So it was a dismissed case. And
we asked repeatedly advice, and then eventually Border Patrol commented publicly on it. So we went back, and they said when an individual is found with drug-related charges and tries to re-enter the country, officers will take proper action. What are your thoughts on hearing that statement?
I think that they're doing their best job not on being transparent, right? So obviously proper action to withhold somebody like myself, that I think that they are just trying to cover themselves up a little bit. I think that they need to admit to the faults that they made in this process. I think you cannot fix the system that is broken with continuous lying to the public. It was obviously not the proper way to treat somebody. My fiance that was sitting out in the parking lot for 5 hours that didn't know what was going on, the fact that they didn't contact my embassy, which they by law have to do, the fact that they didn't let me talk to a legal representative, and the fact that I wasn't given proper meals. I don't think that any criminal in the United States gets treated like that, no matter what charges they have.
And your mother, when she first spoke with us, described some more sensitive things, as you mentioned being stripped. She mentioned you being stripped and being placed in a shower. Can you talk a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, so they were basically forced me to take a shower because they have to give you a shower, right? So after the third day, I told them I can't shower because I'm running a fever and I don't have a towel or anything to dry up with. So if you guys put me in there, I'm going to come out freezing. My fever's going to kick way harder.
Thank you, Cheese and Mary.
Two men brought me to this back room,
Love
made
you,
me strip
hon.
down naked, and tossed me into this freezing cold shower, and then gave me a camping towel that's wrapped up in like a plastic wrapper. You couldn't dry an infant with a towel like that, so I ended up getting out of that shower freezing cold, putting on the same clothes I had, and then getting put back in that chair, and I just shook my way through it. I was shaking the whole time, but I couldn't do anything. I mean, those guys are strong people with firearms, and intimidation factor is huge, right? So it's hard to kind of get your way. I asked for a warmer shower. They said it's not possible. The water doesn't warm up on your behalf.
They aware that you were ill at this point, that you had the flu?
Oh, God.
You would have really had to be blind to see that I didn't have the flu. I was completely sweating. I was constantly ill. And, I mean, were they made aware that I had the flu? I don't think there was a medical professional that diagnosed me with the flu at this time. That was after, but I had told them many times over how I was feeling. So,
when you were at Mass General Hospital, did any doctors or nurses try to mention that you shouldn't be detained or seek to reach out to Bhavani or someone else for you?
The Border Patrol officers did not allow them to really speak to me like that. They cut them off immediately when they were trying to say things like that. The nurse was the only one that was like, she said, this is messed up. That's not the exact words she used, but she looked at me and she said, this is so messed up. And luckily my partner, she had, she taught me some things about the medical field, and I knew which questions to ask, so that way it made it seem like they knew that I was in some kind of a bad situation, but they were constantly trying to give medications to me to take back to the place we were going, and they were like, no, we can't pick up any medications for him. We can't stop at CVS. This is not like that. And the nurse was like, well, he really needs medication. And they were like, no, that's not how this works. And I mean, I could tell they tried.
So going back to when you were in Wyatt for so long, what was was going through your head? Did you think you were ever going to get out? Were there any moments where you thought you might be deported?
Oh yeah, I thought that until Thursday. I mean, this system is so broken. All I saw was people getting deported. I didn't see one person leave. I was the first guy to be actually leaving from that facility in the 60 days I was in there. And the ICE officers constantly scare you, saying, "Hey, this is this new administration is pushing heavily against drug substance abuse and blah blah blah." And I was telling them, wasn't my substance. You guys are blaming me. Like, this is an allegation. This is not a fact. This is not what happened. And now I bet you they're looking at this case and it's a dismissed case. So I'm basically like, I was perplexed, but I was also scared that the system is so strong and so violent. I was like, to the very last moment, thinking that I was going to be deported, and we made the proper things. But I will tell you, I had the best legal team in California. I had Susan Hearn and Brendan Blake, who I've worked with previously, and they were so on top of it, and they knew exactly what to do to be able to show that the process was not done right. And then I had David Keller over here. So having those great attorneys gave me hope. And literally, if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. But also my fiance, she did not stop working. She contacted congressmen, senators, and people that, like governors, and they all reached out. And it's just so nice to feel that support from, mayors and governors. And then you're starting to feel like, yeah, man, this is wrong, but you're powerless. When you're in this situation, I did not think that I was going to set foot on this ground until I actually walked out of the ICE office, because they mess you up mentally so bad. They scare you.
Wow.
Did you receive any letters when you were in Wyatt? And did you hear from your consulate's office? And
Yes. Letters. I've received electronically. I've received one letter that my fiance just takes a picture of it and sends it to me via message, and it takes a couple of days to get approved. And she gave those to me, but Wyatt didn't hand me any letters, even though multiple people started writing them. I received many letters from my employers, people in my life, a couple sergeant on the police force here in Nashua. People were just sticking up for me all over the place, writing recommendation letters, sending them to my attorney to vouch for my character. And I was overwhelmed hearing and reading. Those letters were read to me over the phone, and a lot of times I was crying because I couldn't believe the support I was receiving. And I mean, it's actually in a gloomy situation like that. It was very, very. It was heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time.
Wow.
Fabian, what comes next for you? David had mentioned that you are pursuing legal remedies for what you encountered at Logan Airport. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts on that?
My thoughts? Well, my thoughts is that they broke my iPad and stole my AirPods and a bottle of cologne, so that's like the minimal stuff. But I'm not trying to be facetious or a little bit condescending here. I think that David Keller and the outstanding law team that I've put together, and I have many other attorneys that are now joining this case, are going to pursue this with an iron fist, and I think justice will be served in a due amount of time. I mean, this is not something that's going to happen from 1 year to the next. This is a ongoing, long feat, and I think transparency will be the result. I think there will be some rules that are going to be put in place so people have to be more transparent, because David Keller and his team and the team he has, they're not going to give up easy, and they will push towards a result. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I can make a difference. I'm hoping that I can be the last European legal immigrant with a green card that gets stopped and harassed like that for charges that are misdemeanors, right? I'm hoping that my legal team in California, Susan Hearn and Brendan Blake, that they can actually help more people in California, because they figured out the California aspect of things, and they're all telling me, it's like, hey, we're ready. If people need help, we will help them. So at least because I'm like kind of the breakthrough case, they now have some kind of strategy. Because what's most important is, if no one ever told you about your immigration consequences when you go to court, you're not going to give it the same effort as if someone told you, hey, by the way, if you you don't follow through exactly this way, you're going to be deported. You're going to lose everything, your family, your money, your credit, your house, everything will be gone. But I was never told that. So luckily, Susan Hearn, she's a really good attorney. So she went through this process with Brennan Blake, and they got the minute orders for the court records, and they found out that I was never advised of my immigration responsibilities. I was never advised in those two cases, period, about my immigration responsibilities. And that's where I was kind of perplexed, because if I had known I had to show my face in the court of immigration, I would have done that way beforehand to make sure I wouldn't have these consequences. And so in reality, after some really good legal work, it's now a little bit more transparent for other people that potentially have to go through this process. So you're asking me what I'm going to do in my future. I'm going to help other people. I want to help more people whose families are outside right now crying for their loved ones, that are legal permanent residents with just minor cases, preferably, nothing crazy, but I want to help them because I saw how much my family suffered, and I know how much it hurts, and I don't want other people to have to feel this pain, because it's indescribable. It's like someone takes your heart out of your chest, and losing your family and everything you ever built is the most painful thing that's ever happened to me. Even though it was temporary in my case, it very much felt like it was permanent.
With the Trump administration detaining so many different types of immigrants who are legal permanent residents, people who have minor offenses, people who have significant offenses, people who are undocumented, how do you feel you fit into all of this? Like, you just experienced something extraordinary. What do you take from this moving forward?
Well, I will tell you this. I love this country and the people in it so much that this was a light blow, and I don't think this is anything big picture that I would comment on a political standpoint, but I will tell you this: the system is broken, and on a broken system, you can't fix anything. I think that there's a lot of people that are detained for no reason, but also some that are detained for a reason, because I got to see that with my own eyes. I think that we need to stand together strongly and ensure that we can fix the system and do proper legal work, because at the end of the day, when you hold your hand on your chest and you say liberty and justice for all, it should mean something to all of us.
Oh, wow. Liberty and justice for all.
Switch to TurboTax.
How can I turn this off?
File free.
Oh, for gosh sakes. Okay. There. Liberty and justice for all. So there were a lot of messages and hellos. And I didn't acknowledge any of them because I was watching that with you guys. I watched all of it the other day or yesterday, except maybe the last 10 minutes. So that was new to me too. Yeah, I really warmed up in the beginning of my live from, the dancing and stuff. And then I was sitting here and I was just freezing. So I turned my heat on. And yeah, so, I'll probably have to change my title around a little bit because I'm going to show what the 5-year-old went through at his school the other day. And you'll see, along with other people, where my why I'm angry. With thousands and thousands of other people, not just in Minnesota, about all this ICE stuff. So, oops. So, Okay, well, all right. Let me, I thought I had it on here, but I gotta Google it. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, this is outrageous. And Mary Jane Doe, do you think you could put the disclaimer in, or a mod, if there's one in there? If not, I can just read it. Uh, so this is Channel 4 News. Um, Actually, this is CBC. So this is a Canadian channel. I am half an hour from Canada. What's happening here? Really stupid commercials.
Immigration crackdown in Minnesota continues to provoke backlash in communities. The latest controversy comes following the detention of a 5-year-old boy arriving home from school in Minnesota. It is now the 4th child detained from the same school board this month. The CBC's Hillary Johnstone joins us now with more on all of this. Okay, walk us through what we know about these cases so far.
We know that this happened on Tuesday, and a lot of this information is coming to us from the school board. They held a press conference and have also released information to the media. And they say that on Tuesday, 5-year-old Liam Ramos, and we can show you a photo of him. This is his school photo this year, released by the school board with permission from his mother, that he and his father were arriving home from school. He is a preschool student. They were in their driveway when, according to school officials, these agents arrived and tried to detain the father. They say, according to school officials, that there was another adult who lived at the home, who was outside on the driveway at the time, who asked these officials if they could take care of this 5-year-old, so that the 5-year-old was not taken into detention. According to school officials, these agents also took the child out of the still running vehicle, led them to the door, and directed the 5-year-old to knock on the door of the house, asking to be let in order to see if anyone else was at the home. The school is essentially describing this as using this 5-year-old like bait. And these are photographs that were taken at the time that have also been released by school officials to show what had happened. We know that there's also another brother, a middle school age brother, and a mother who were not detained. But of course, a lot of this is raising questions about what has been happening in Minnesota and in Minneapolis more broadly. Of course, you'll remember just a couple of weeks ago, the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good, not that far, same city really, is where all of this is taking place. I do want to bring you a little bit more now of what we've heard from school officials, and they are saying this, quote, "Our children should not be afraid to come to school or wait at the bus stop. Their families should not be afraid to drop off or pick up their children from school. We learn the importance of in-person learning following the pandemic. Schools and communities must be safe places for children and families to thrive."
So, of course, we're hearing from school boards here, from those who are observing all of these ICE raids and detainments that are taking place as well. What about the Department of Homeland Security? What are they saying about this case involving a 5-year-old?
So CBC News, we have reached out to them asking for more information. They will not confirm where this 5-year-old and his father are, but there have been media reports that the family's lawyers have said that they are in a detention center in Texas. Texas is very far away from Minnesota, but this is what we have heard on X, of course, formerly known as Twitter, from the Department of Homeland Security, saying that ICE did not target a child. The child was abandoned. They said that they were conducting a targeted operation to arrest this child's father, who they claim is an illegal alien from Ecuador. Now, I will mention that the school says that the family actually has an active asylum case open and that there is no deportation order against the family. This Homeland Security statement goes on to say that as agents approached the driver, the father fled on foot, abandoning his child. For the child's safety, one of our ICE officers remained with the child while the other officers apprehended the father. Very different story than what we have heard from school officials. This is what we heard a short time ago from the commander of U.S. Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, when he was asked if he has any moral or ethical qualms about detaining a 5-year-old.
Oftentimes you will see violent illegal aliens that perhaps do have families, and those violent criminal illegal aliens are going to be arrested. I've got no qualms about making America a safer place when we arrest those illegal aliens.
And just finally here, we have heard from the Democratic governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who has said in a statement that Minnesotans want safety, freedom, and what's best for their kids, and having masked agents snatch kids off of school streets and sending them to Texas detention centers does not serve those purposes.
Okay, a lot to take in there. Thanks for this, Hillary.
Thank you.
That's CBC's Hillary Johnstone reporting for us.
That's right. So, that's freaking ridiculous. He didn't even address it. Bovino, Bambino, Trevino, Cracknino, freaking ass. Okay, he didn't even address it, you guys. He didn't even address the child. I mean, 5 years old. And you saw how traumatized that grown adult from, heritage of Germany, what he went through. I mean, we don't know if these children, when they cry and cry and cry, aren't being hurt, slapped, screamed at. It just makes me sick. So that came up. So another reason I'm so pissed off at said creator out there complimenting and nearly applauding damn ICE. It's sick. It's sick. So I'm going to end with that. This has been a pretty long live. Instead of making our snide comments about protesters, and you know who you are, why don't you show some compassion? I mean, I guess he sent a Venmo or a PayPal or something to to some reporter out there in the cold. Well, that reporter out in the cold gets to go home to his families. I mean, you guys just, it's literally like kidnappings. And now everything's worse. The president writes up something on paper where ICE can, it's okay to bust down your doors without a legitimate warrant. It's horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thanks for everyone that's here. Then peek at chat. Thank you, Cheesy member, or Cheesy Mary, for being a member. You can be a little guinea pig first and then a cat after. The reason it's, how much is it? I think it's $3.99. and it's not $2.99 or $1.99, is that's what YouTube told me for the amount of people watching me and whatnot. I mean, it was in my thing, in my AdSense thing to be monetized, that I should charge. So I went ahead and did it. But so if you want to be a member and support, the civil liberties and the rights of Minnesotans and all the other states and frankly countries that are going through this. And thanks for everybody. Just MS0426 says judge refuses DOJ case against Don Lemon. 3 of 8 have been arrested though. Wow. Yeah. I mean, really, should he be a pastor in a place like that, the head of ICE, and let all these atrocities go on? Preaching the gospel. It's ridiculous. Okay, Bayron's back. That's nice. So hi, everybody. Yeah, they're ripping families apart. I can see them taking the criminals, but not well-standing families in our community, ripping them apart, says Michelle. Waste talent or something. They're arresting illegal aliens. Well, yeah, some of them, but a lot of them not. And they're arresting people that are even in the middle of trying to get asylum. And they're arresting people that are full-fledged citizens, but because their skin is brown or light brown or dark brown or whatever, they're profiling and just grabbing people and tormenting them for however long they want. Oh gosh. All right, welcome everyone. So thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting the like to those of you that did, if you're willing to, or to subscribe to me. It'd be greatly appreciated. And thanks to all the people in the bushes watching from between the trees. Maybe some of you are in Minnesota. Yeah, be careful, because you can have a heart attack from shoveling snow. Happens all the time. We don't have any snow here in Washington State. I thought for sure we would by now. But a couple of years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, on March 1st, we got a lot of snow. It was the weirdest flippin' thing. So, prayers to that little boy and all the other people being detained and going through utter hell. And, it's bad enough being in a place like that, but when you have no clue when you're going to be released or go back to normal life, and when you're 5, you don't understand it. I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. It's just getting worse. It's just getting worse. I just don't get it. Anyway, thanks for being here, everyone. Love you guys.